I mean, I've been doing some sweet traveling, but what I had to play with me, well, obviously I had my Switch with me, and I just so happened to have a fresh copy of Xenoblade Chronicles X.
The
Uh,
oven.
what is it remastered? Is it definitive edition? Who the hell knows? Um, so this is basically a remastered. I guess it's kind of like Metroid Prime, which you just spoke about. It's kind of just like revisiting an older game, although this is nowhere near as old as the original Metroid Prime. I think Xenoblade Chronicles X came out like 10 years ago,
I think
2015
it was on the Wii
ish.
U.
It was in the Wii U,
From
yeah. So I think
yeah.
it's one of those games that was just, as a result of being on the Wii U, was just kind of missed. I think the Wii U is home to a lot of good games that were just completely forgotten about because that console just did not sell the numbers that Nintendo hoped. So this is, I guess, another opportunity for Nintendo to put it into the hands of new players on the Switch. Um, and yeah, if you don't know anything about the Xenoblade franchise, there are these big open world JRPGs kind of functioning like, I've come to learn now, having played Xenoblade 1 and the more recent Xenoblade 3, they kind of just open world they're open world single player MMORPGs, if that makes sense. It's like it's an MMORPG without all the other players because it functions very similarly in terms of combat. So if you're watching the footage that we are showing, you aren't necessarily like dodging or rolling. You encounter an enemy and then you just have a lot of spells or commands to execute while spacing yourself or moving to certain parts of the enemy. So for example, if you want to do a certain attack that does more damage from behind, you have to maneuver to behind the enemy not
Oh,
to do
okay.
that. But
So
the,
they auto attack
they
is
auto
what you're
attack. Yeah,
saying.
you control your primary party. You control a character in this game, and you can cast all the spells you see on the screen there. Well, spells, abilities, whatever you want to call them. But your actual attack, it auto attacks. Your party members, they do their own thing. You're just there to space yourself and maneuver, whatever. And it seems very simple. There is a lot of depth though, and it is very, very satisfying. It's weird because when I first started playing the game, it does the Xenoblade / JRPG thing where it just front loads so much information. I feel like this game, particularly compared to the first and the third one, that it was just like information overload. Even I was like, well, hold on, like what is going on? Like what am I meant to be doing? Whatever. But I've only put in about 10 hours now, which is it's baby numbers for a game like this. I think
A whole
a full
Metroid Prime.
yeah, a full playthrough of this will probably take like a minimum of 70 hours. And I'm guessing, I mean, I think if you mix a bit of mainlining and doing side quest stuff, like you're looking at 100 plus hours, no problem. I think now that I've wrapped my head around the systems, which I know are going to keep expanding because I'm still like early days. I'm really enjoying it and I want to put more time into it. It's weird though because like I've only engaged with the Xenoblade franchise purely because we've got review copies, and I've actually really started liking the franchise. Like I really loved 3, that I played last year, the year before. That's the last entry in the franchise, and they really good games. Like I understand the praise this franchise gets now, but weirdly, this one, in terms of story particularly, it's the only one in the franchise, to my understanding, where you get to make your own character and name them, but your character's not voiced. It does the Gordon Freeman thing where you just like you just don't talk. You've got options to talk, to respond to people in terms of dialogue options, but you never hear your character talk or engage, and it's just weird. It makes the narrative feel a bit strange to me. Like you're just this empty husk walking around with no real personality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Mm.
yeah,
It's like an old RPG trope,
it's
like
yeah, like I think this was one of the things they're trying to do differently. Like, cool, we're gonna put the power in players' hands. We're not gonna give them a set cast of characters. We'll let them create their own. But then the takeaway is that you'll hear your characters shout commands in combat, but actual cutscenes and stuff, like you don't talk. It's just people talk at you, and then every now and then, like I don't know if there are any long-term ramifications with your dialogue choices or if it's just a flavor thing, but for example, you'll go to this your home base, and somebody will be like, "Hey, like, how did the mission go?" And your option would be like, "Act tough," or say it was like a disaster. I'm like, okay, like you choose an option, then the dialogue pops up, and the person responds to you, but you don't actually hear your character talk, and it's just like it's a weird choice to me. But I mean,
that is odd.
yeah. But yeah, I still need to sink my time into this game. It's gorgeous. I think this is the game where you look at this and you look at Pokemon and you go, why does Pokemon not look like this? Because
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, this game was renowned even on Wii U for like, getting as much as it could out of that system. It
so
apparently looks phenomenal.
yeah, there are like, if you look very closely at a texture, you go like, oof, that's not very sharp. But when you're out in the open world, if you compare this to just any Pokemon game, particularly the recent ones, you're like, what is going on that, Pokemon games cannot look like this? So I don't know what sorcery this team does, but if you're looking at the footage now, like, it's this beautiful big open world, and it's very enticing. You want to run around and do everything.
Yeah, it's very expansive. It just looks like a big world.
But yeah, that's why I get that whole MMO vibe where it just feels like this huge open space you can run around in. And there are, in this footage, the player party is level 8, and they're fighting a level 8 enemy, but it's not uncommon to run around and be like, oh god, like there's a level 50 enemy, I have to come back to them, many hours down the line, come fight this boss, whatever. It just makes me feel like I'm running around in an MMO, but with the benefit of I can play it alone in my own time. There's a lot to dig into in terms of the systems and stuff, but yeah, I need to. 10 hours is like nowhere near enough to really, I've like barely sunk my teeth into this game, but I am enjoying it thus far. It's grown in me despite the information front loading, because it was a lot. So there's just so much going on here. So yeah, but I'm very keen to keep playing it.
Yeah, it's the one I remember, I got into the Wii U quite late in its life cycle because, like, Splatoon came out and I was suddenly like, ooh, that looks cool. And then I grabbed a Wii U and suddenly all these games are open to me. And it was the one, I had a colleague I was working with at the time that was super into this game, into the series. And I didn't understand that this one was like almost pseudo like a spin-off because it takes place in a completely different time period and stuff. So I just thought Xenoblade was this game with mechs and this over-the-top action and whatever. And turns out this is almost like an anomaly, but in a good way. It's some people's favorite Xenoblade, despite being so different.
Yeah, there are mechs in the game, which I don't know. I don't know much about the actual game itself, but I'm pretty sure you do get to pilot mechs later on. I think that is like what sets this game apart from the rest of the franchise, because you ain't piloting mechs in 1 or 3, not to my knowledge. So yeah, but I'm definitely going to keep chipping away at this. I'd love to. I don't know if I'll finish it before the Switch 2 launches, but I'm going to try my absolute best. To get through this.
Must look good on that OLED as well.
It looks good, yeah. It's a weird thing because I think initially when you launch the game and you play it, it looks a bit rough. And I remember the same with Xenoblade 3. I was like, there's something about the resolution or the frame rate, it just didn't look right to me. But after like an hour or two, you're like, oh yeah, this is adjusted, it looks good, plays well. This must have been great on the Wii U. So I'm glad more people are getting to enjoy it on a console that has a much larger install base.